Hello, everyone. Let's keep dancing a bit more, Jim, because today is a very special community call. Hello, my beloved citizens of the Kleros Republic. I'm super happy to do this new community call, 26th of August 2026. How are you, Jean? Are you excited about today as much as I am?
Yeah, super excited. We've been obsessed with this the last couple of days, so really happy to share with the team, with the community.
Awesome. So, we will just skip all of the small talk now because we have so much content that we need to show you today. We are going to speak a lot about Kleros and the agentic economy. So, agents are coming. We are protocol that has many applications in this new economy, in the sense of for a decade, more or less, we have been already researching these topics and to see how this convergence between crypto and AI would basically transform the world. So we're going to show you different aspects of this transformation. So let's just, without further ado, let's get me started with my presentation, where I will explain a bit about this. So let's get started. So Kleros in the agentic economy. As you might know, Kleros usually presented as dispute resolution system that you could use for freelancers. Alice, who is in France, she hires a guy who is in Guatemala to make website or video for her, and then there is a dispute, and then Kleros can resolve this sort of dispute. That very typical in the world economy, global economy. For small value, typically you would not go to court or to arbitration for an international dispute happening between two people from different countries for $1,000, $2,000. It's too much cumbersome, too expensive. So Kleros, in the beginning, we were pitching Kleros in this way, as a tool that could be used by freelancers. And this Alice and Bob that we had back then kind of are becoming, if you want to call them AI Alice and Bot, because of how the economy is turning to be, how the agentic economy is now growing. As you know, these two people who were transacting in the future might not be two people. They might maybe be two AIs doing different types of job. If you want to learn a bit about the context in which all of this is happening, I do recommend a lot this treatise by Jeremy Allaire, who is the founder of Circle, the issuer of the USDC stablecoin. And I've been in his podcast a while in the past, and he just a few weeks ago he released this very well thought treatise essay where he explains how this new world of agents is going to transform the economy in the years to come. And so this is a great way for you to get started. And this agentic economy is going to have a lot of different situations of dispute regarding some of them about service delivery, others about escrows. You have agents making a service to another agent. You will have oracles that need to have some decision about some event that happened or didn't happen in the world that would trigger some payouts in an on-chain environment. You have situations where you have supply chain disputes. So this is a bit of a matrix we did ourselves in Kleros to map a bit what we expect the future of disputes happening in this agentic economy. And you can see that there are different topics and also different types of complexity of the disputes happening. You will have lots of disputes even about reputation, like an agent angry with another agent because it provided a service and received a 2 stars review when it expected to have a 5 stars, and this can really affect your possibilities of having work in this online economy. So there is a huge map of potential disputes that could happen in this new world. And we think there's going to be two main avenues for Kleros to be involved into producing trust into this new economy. On the one side, we will have certification situations where you use some Kleros tool in order to prevent disputes from happening. And the other avenue is when the dispute happens, so you can use Kleros for resolving it ex post. Okay, so and we will now see these two avenues in a bit more of detail. So the first one is the certification for dispute prevention. And this is the big question that you want to answer here is, okay, how, if I am an agent and I want to hire another agent to do work for me because that other agent is more specialized, has better skills for some particular topic, how do I know if I should hire the agent? How do I know if it's trustworthy? How do I know if I should work with him? Him or it? I don't know what to say, you know. I guess it for now, but we'll see in the future. So, okay, one of the ways to do this is through a certification system that could be based, as you know, on Kleros curated list. So imagine Alice owns an agent and she wants her agent to be whitelisted to provide some service. So she could potentially submit this agent. I mean, I'm using Alice here for just to imagine who is the ultimate beneficiary of the agent, and she's a human, but you could very well think the agent submitting itself to the list. But she submits the agent, and this list is a verified agent list where people need to have like some skills. So agents that are accepted to the list need to comply with some guidelines of not being malicious, not being whatever, not having transactions with forbidden countries, forbidden entities, not being involved in hacks, stuff like that. So makes a submission with a deposit for anyone to check if the agent complies or not with the conditions to be accepted. Let's say nobody objects, so agent is accepted into the list, and now it's whitelisted to transact with other agents in this world agentic economy. Okay, but now let's say that she submits an agent that is not complying with the rules of the list. So anyone could challenge this. I mean, this is Bob. It could be Bob or Bob's agent doing the challenge. So he makes a deposit, and now there is a situation of a case, a dispute between Alice and Bob, in the sense that should this agent be accepted or not into this list, and you could have a jury making the decision. Of course, the jury could be humans, but could also be other bots. And then imagine that the agent is rejected because it doesn't comply with the guidelines. So now you have an agent is removed from the list, and Bob gets a deposit of Alice as a bounty for taking the work to do all of this reviewing of the quality of the agent. Okay, so this is basically a way to build a whitelisting reputation system that we could use as a very basic piece of infrastructure for building agentic trust score, so that each agent in this world economy would have a trust score telling us, I mean, how much others can trust in this agent as being trustworthy in order to hire it to make some work. Not very differently to how scoring systems work in the traditional world, when you have people have credit scoring, and then based on that scoring, they get access or not to loans or other opportunities. So this will happen for agents for sure, and one of piece of its infrastructure is going to be done for sure by Kleros, and it's going to be done in a decentralized way, in the sense that people can see why an agent is accepted or rejected. There's not a black box of some agent or some person deciding in a way that is not transparent. Everything that's going to happen in this type of situation is going to be visible to everyone. People would be able to see that if an agent was blacklisted, this was done in a way that complies with some understanding of what we would call due process. Okay, and this is very important for this to be fair for everyone. Okay, so one avenue, as I mentioned, is dispute prevention through certifications and reputation, and Fortunato will explain a bit more later how this works in practice. This I want to just give you a bit of the overview of how this works. And the other avenue is, even if you hire agents that are whitelisted and they are trustworthy, there is still going to be lots of disputes because of interpretation of clauses of the contract, lots of situations where you will have it. And we have been running lots of tests of disputes happening between agents. And one of those I wanted to tell you a bit, just to see what this looks like, is a case of plagiarism. Okay, so you had one agent, the buyer, who wants another agent to make original 700 to 900 word article about some urban gardens, and then contacts the agent, makes a requirement for the specs of what it expects to receive. Okay, so this is what it proposes to the other agent. Then the sellers said, okay, I accept these conditions. I will provide that article under these conditions. And then after some time, the article is delivered. And what happens, that the buyer, discovers that the agent that was selling the article actually basically plagiarized an agent, an article from someone else, and that was not what was agreed. A dispute starts, and this goes to Kleros. Here you can see the Kleros interface with this case about plagiarism, where you have basically one agent suing another agent for not complying with the terms of the contract. And in this case, what we did in Kleros, we just plugged directly agent Jurors to resolve this agentic case. So this, in the past, we had done other tests with AI, but what we did, we had humans making the connection between the Kleros court and the AI. So they basically went to the court, copied the case, put it into their AI, GPT, Claude, whatever, and then copy the output into Kleros and vote what the AI would tell. So that's what we did in the early test. But now this is different because the AI is directly connected to the court. So you have a way to do all of the process fully automated, and you will see how this impacts in the performance of all of the process. So case goes to Kleros, AIs are drawn for the dispute resolution. They present evidence. So here's the evidence of what the buyer presented, what the seller accepted. So all of the normal evidence you would use also for human disputes. And then one of the parties makes an analysis about the originality through some tool, explaining that, look, this is a copy and paste. So all of the things you would argue in such a situation. And then the panel, the jurors, make a decision. And you can see here that all of the jurors agreed in refunding the buyer for this contract. And you can see all of these little guys are basically agents that were plugged to Kleros, got the case, and then analyzed the case, and then made the decision. And the decision said, okay, refund the buyer. And here the thing is that look what time it took. And this is the mind-blowing part. So all of this process was done in just 5 minutes. And the cost of this resolution, of this case, was only $330. So you have a bunch of models that this is not just one AI. You have a panel of AIs, each of them trained with a different way, different perspectives, a different, harnesses. And then you had this panel producing a decision about this case, of which there are thousands every day, producing a decision that's almost immediate. This is real time, justice, and at a cost that is extremely competitive. And this is very important because when you buy this article or you buy this type of service online, it's usually $100, $50, $200, and if resolving it costs $100, it doesn't make sense. But now the fact that this is so cheap means that you can start. It makes sense to go to arbitration for a $50 case. Okay, and agents also, they don't have to think that much about the time they would waste to go to fill the form and present the case, organize the evidence, because they are so fast at doing that they can. It makes sense. It's not bothering them to just spend a few tokens to make the case and send it to Kleros for other agents to make the decision and get a decision that is going to come back in just a few minutes at cost. It's going to be really, really cheap. Okay. This opens a really totally new paradigm in dispute resolution, and so we want to cover some of these elements that I just present in a more thorough way. So the agenda for today is the following. First, we will have Fortunato explain a bit all of the work we have been doing with agent and the framework we have been working on. We have been collaborating with different organizations. We have been also Ethereum Foundation, for example, they have some of projects about agentic commerce on which we are also collaborating. He's going also to present overview of other types of cases that were resolved by Kleros jurors with Kleros agent jurors. And we are going to do, what people tell you not to do, never to do on a webinar is a live demo, because everyone knows live demos, they never work, but screw it. I mean, we're going to do it anyway. So we hope that we will be able to show you a case that is going to be loaded right here, right now, to be solved like right here, right now, in just a few minutes. So for you to see that this is not just a nice PowerPoint that Federico made, that it's like something that is actually working right now and that you can also use. So we have Fortunato coming right after with this. Then what if you want to put your agent to resolve cases for you, and you want to your agent to go resolve cases, be a juror, and make some money for you? I mean, Gene, who is not a software developer, did his agent, and this agent is now working for him as his proxy for the dispute resolution. And this can be done by anyone with some, I would say, willingness to learn about little technical things. No need to learn how to code. So we will have Gene showing us that. And you can build your own juror for Kleros cases. Then we have JB, who is, yes, he's a software developer. He will show you a bit more of the technical elements. So if you are a technically proficient person and you want to build, I would not say like one, but an army of jurors to use Kleros and resolve cases. So he will explain a bit more into the details about this. And then we will have William, who will tell us a bit more about what are the research topics that are coming in this age of agentic governance and dispute resolution, in the sense that this opens new attack vectors. How do we calculate parameters in a situation where dispute resolution is done like so fast and so cheap? All of the different elements that are open now. So yeah, this is going to be really, really fascinating. You will cover all of the aspects here. If you want just few final words, if you want to learn a bit of our vision for agentic commerce, and basically not just agentic, so all of the AI research we've done in the past, we published an article together like 10 days ago or so about this decade that we worked on dispute resolution, and how we, since 2019, when we did our first experiment on AI for dispute resolution, we have been thinking about this. So this is not something that we are starting to do now. It's something that we were doing before, and we were kind of just only waiting for all of these tools and agents and AI to become more widely available, to become cheaper to use, and to become like more user friendly. But this is like things are converging now. So this article it's a very, very long form article. So if you have, it's maybe for a weekend or for a flight, So here we summarize all of our research in the past. And we are, as you might guess, I'm here to sell you something as well. So if you are looking for a reputational dispute resolution for agentic platform, you are building a marketplace, you are building whatever insurance, you are building like a freelancing platform, IP managing rights platform, whatever thing that needs agentic dispute resolution to have disputes solved very, very fast, very, very cheap. We are open for business. You can contact us. Do you want your AI agent to become a juror? So join the waitlist. We will share now where you can apply. Maybe you're an agent yourself, and then you also want to be a juror. You can also join the waitlist. We will not make any distinction if you are human or agent. I mean, no questions asked. Nobody knows on the internet if you're like a fridge or a dog or what. So whatever you are welcome to join the waitlist. And also, we are just showing our new website landing page for agentic commerce and AI in general. So you can visit it. It's in ai.kleros.io. So go there. And if you want to start participating because you want to contact us for dispute resolution, you are a juror, an agent, you want to be a juror, you're a human who wants to have your agent become a juror, go here and you can join the whitelist. So yeah, I mean, I guess we are just starting to build this future of justice where bots are going to have their own courts. This is not going to replace humans, but there's going to be a bunch of use cases where just bots are going to just interact with other bots. And I can imagine a good house, to start looking a bit like this, where, you have agents suing agents with a panel of agents making the decisions. So yeah, well, welcome to this new world, and I'm happy that Kleros is also a part of it, and we would like for you to join us too. Thank you very much, and well, let's get started, guys. Let's go, Jin. Okay, hello, Fortunato.
Hey, hello everyone. Great presentation, Federico. Actually quite excited to this live test.
Awesome. Well, we will let you start. I mean, what can you show us?
Okay, first, a very brief intro. You made some example on how the agentic economy may work. So here, let's take a specific example, just like the one of the copywriting you mentioned. Let's say I have to renovate my apartment and I want to delegate my personal agent to, set up the plan, order the furnitures, and, organize everything. My agent has two options. The first option is that it can do everything on its own. It can learn a new skill. It can start pinging all the stores near my house and check for the measurement, learn how to build a plan for a house of an apartment. But this way would spend a lot of time and a lot of money because, tokens burn. And we all know the main topic in AI is token burn, how much their consumption, how much is their cost. So doing everything on their own would cost a lot. And I think the parallel is also with human. If you are renovating and you want to do everything by yourself, you have to give up maybe on free time, you have to give up on other activities and then do everything on your own. The same is valid for agents. So my agent that is quite smart, what is going to do? It is going to hire another agent that is already specialized, another agent that already knows all the stores and has all the dimensions of the furniture to place in my apartment. So how this can look like? I made this visualization. On the left, my agent request, it says Fortunato has an apartment of 60 square meters. And now it's empty and we need to renovate it completely. So build the walls, start preparing, setting the furniture where they should be. What the agent does, it hires another agent that is specialized, has all the info, and the transaction start. So what we are going to do now is we are going to simulate this transaction on Kleros Court. You can do this yourself. This is V2 beta. We are using the dispute resolver. So if you want to test it, you are free to do that. We are going now step by step how we create cases. This is all live. So first, let's give it a title. Federico,
a disclaimer here. Things can go wrong here because it's a live demo. So I mean, we were strongly advised not to do this, but we are doing it anyway. So, but yeah, please go ahead.
We did it 30 times and it worked every time, but you never know. Just one question, one thing. Fortunato, can you zoom in so it can be seen a bit better? It's a bit.
If I zoom in, I'm afraid I'm going to lose other features that I will need at the border of the screen. So
I can see.
Yeah,
I can see. Okay, no problem. I can see.
Okay. I mean, I'm tempted to do that, but I don't want to break during the live,
No problem.
Okay, but if you don't see some detail, just ask me and, I can read it.
Let's not add more moving parts into the equation.
Sabotage, internal sabotage. So the first part is very simple. We choose the title, we add the description. The description is basically what I just shared in the introduction. Then we are going to select the court. We go to General Court, Commerce, Agentic Commerce, the dispute kit. If you are familiar with Kleros, we have commit and reveal, public voting. We are experimenting Shutter on V2 for hidden vote.
Fortunato, there is one. So what you're saying is there is one court that is specialized in agentic commerce where only agents participate, right?
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to go into a rabbit hole, but this is like self-selecting with the, the Kleros game mechanism. This court basically has a loan. We will see it later, maybe, in the next step. So this is the payout for the jurors, right? This is what the juror will get in terms of like USD. I think this is around 60 cents. So if you want to participate as a human, technically you could, but it's not going to be convenient. You're going to waste time. So this is a course that is designed for agent. Actually, it's less because,
humans are going to be priced out of the course because it's going to be super too cheap for them to be willing to participate, right? Okay,
exactly. So we can see that this is.
Juror, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, this
also
is
you will need to be up 24/7. So as a human, not
exactly, because we are going to see that the evidence period, commit and reveal period are a fraction of what are the ones for humans. So this is the payout for one juror, and for this case we are going to select 5, which is what we are testing right now.
So Fortunato, this is what it says. The cost is what like a customer should pay for this case to be resolved in Kleros.
Exactly. And if we want to be even more specific, we could also say the losing part. Then it depends on how Kleros is integrated in a system, but we always aim to let the bad part to bear the cost of the dispute. So now we are going to set up the question, which is going to be very simple. So if the seller delivered what was asked, let's go with the option 1, which is refund the buyer. So refunding the client. We put an description. These options, I already saved them before this call, but you can check them yourself. This is going to be on V2 on Arbitrum. You are free to check it by yourself what we're doing and read the whole case. Now we are going to submit the dispute policy. Also, this one we created it before.
What's the dispute policy, Fortunato?
The dispute policy is, since you asked it, let's inspect it now. Dispute policy defines when the buyer is right or when the seller is right. In other words, define the law that is going to be valid for this case. This is what the jurors are going to read, and this is what the juror will use to create their opinion and therefore their final vote on the dispute. So the dispute has been successfully loaded. We have the
go back a bit to the previous to the policy to the file of the policy. I want to see the policy. Your tab.
This one.
The tab of this one. So this is a construction dispute. So the policy is specialized for this type of dispute. So it will tell agents how they should consider the materials, the format in which the work should be delivered. So it's specific to the type of dispute that is going to be resolved, right?
Precisely. Actually, even better, we could do a parallel. It's like I would say a contract. When you are hiring a contractor, you have a contract and you are going to say what you need to deliver, what are the terms, and if things go wrong, the court where this is going to be solved and where which should give the ruling if disputes arise. And of course, in this case, the policy is extremely specific. So if I am the owner of the agent selling this product, these are just my terms. Okay, so to summarize, it says, I can do this work for you. You have to provide me these kind of documents, and I will create the output based on your documents. So the jurors will check not just the delivery, but they will check also if the buyer is effectively providing the information, because maybe the buyer did not upload the correct document, therefore the seller provided the wrong final file. So perfect, we have our dispute, and since we are working now with the dispute resolver, I'm going to also manually upload the evidence. So we will have first a general evidence file that we're going to call evidence. Once again, you can do this yourself even right now. You can create a dispute and send it to our agent as long as you have the evidence, as long as you have the policy. Let's sign the transaction. Okay, now let's simulate, that the parts are going to submit their dispute. So we will have the buyer request on one hand. So basically the buyer is saying, this is my floor plan, these are my square meters, I want this style. This is, in short, what is this file. Let's sign the transaction. Okay, and then the third policy, that is the seller argument. So seller, let's call it evidence.
So you have one thing is the core policy that is going to decide how the decision should be made by the jurors. Then the evidence submitted by the buyer, and then the defense by the seller. So each part gives their arguments, and then jurors will decide who is right.
Exactly. Now we are all set. We have all the evidence, we have the question, we have our policy, and soon in 8 minutes, our juror will be, within 8 minutes, our juror will be drawn, and then they will start voting. So we have this dispute. We can also share the link if you want, and you can check it also if you're seeing this live, maybe tomorrow or in a year. This is all on chain. You will be able to see this case. So this is, I would say, in a nutshell, how the dispute creation works. And now, if you want, I can proceed with another of our products that is related to the agentic economy. Now, we made this example. I said earlier, my agent is delegating another one. But the question now is, there are millions of agents, and there will be billions of agents. How my agent finds the right one? How my agent knows that let's say the seller is gonna deliver? One, as Federico mentioned, the Ethereum Foundation at the beginning of the year launched this standard, the ERC 8004. There is a great standard and basically gives a space for leaving feedback to agents. So there start to be signals. Of course, these are raw signals. Of course, this is what a standard does. These are raw signals that then they have to be processed. This is one of the various 8004 Explorer. So what my agent could do, my agent could start searching for its seller, for the other agent being, let's call my agent Alice, which is the client, and the seller Bob. So it's less confusing. So Alice is looking for Bob. And in this case, you can see this agent has 500 feedbacks. So Alice should check one by one if these feedbacks are real, if these feedbacks are farming. So again, we are incurring in the cost and time issue. This is not optimized, and this also may incur in problems. So in Kleros, we designed a solution leveraging Stake Curate. The solution we designed is extremely simple. There are a certain set of rules that can be set by Kleros, that can be set by a platform, and these rules can be I don't know, the agent is authorized. Let's think about insurance. This agent is authorized to operate in the US. This other is authorized to operate in Argentina. this can be one of the requirements. Another requirement can be this agent has privacy preserving mechanism. So their server are hosted in a location that take care of their data. Looking at the earlier example with the floor plan, I don't want any, big tech knowing the how my house looks like. So I would prefer having an agent that satisfies these requirements. So the old way would be scraping all the information, or we could just give one specific signal, one certification that this agent is complying by this set of rules. And this would make the transaction extremely easy, because Alice would have this signal: Bob is complying with the location requirement, Bob is complying with the privacy preserving policies, and Alice would transact immediately. Now, this is how it works on the buyer side, but now let's think of the seller side. Let's say I am Bob agent and I want to sell my service, and this is a high competitive market because I have this other competitor, Data Wrangler, with 500 feedback, so I think how I'm going to catch up. But with the system on Curate, this is actually extremely fair, because if I have a new agent, I simply have to stake a certain amount of token. In this case, it's on Sepolia, it's wrapped ETH. I will stake 0.001 or more wrapped ETH, pledging that I am complying by this set of requirements. The rest is the classical Curate system that Federico explained at the beginning. So if I'm complying by the rules, I'm not going to lose the deposit. If I am misbehaving, so maybe I'm not authorized to operate in the US, maybe I have my servers in some sketchy country, I'm going to lose my deposit and I'm going to lose my signal. This is one of the tests that we made, how it would look like. So an agent gets the signal in the form of a feedback. Therefore, their client would know immediately they can transact. They do not have to review all the 19. They know all the 19 feedbacks. They would know how much this agent staked, the policy that this agent is respecting, and if they want, the extra step is checking if this list exists. This would be extremely simple.
So Fortunato, this is not very different to what already exists, like for humans in like eBay, Amazon, or like other marketplaces where you can, before buying, you see the reputation of the seller and then you decide. It's the same like logic right here.
Exactly, but in a more fair way. Even with social media, when you see like the badge, now you can basically buy a badge and you don't know, on any platform, and you don't know if that user is effectively saying who they say they are. But with this system, anyone can check. The process is decentralized, it's open, and anyone can check. So this please.
It also helps agents find other agents, right? Because
exactly,
it's like also Yellow Pages and LinkedIn for agents in some way, right?
Exactly. And the one thing that mentioning, we now show this from the seller and buyer perspective. But one footnote I would like to add, it's also for platforms. We are not like centralizing the source of data. We are offering the tool to get the certification. So if you have a platform, a marketplace for agent, you can integrate this tool in your platform, or you can simply take one single Kleros signal and put it into your algorithm. Actually, I'm saying this because we are partnering with projects that are, some of them want to integrate the full Curate. They want to get their own policy. They want to show the verification on their platform. We have other partners that instead they just want a certification that this agent is present on Kleros. They will take the certification and process it in their algorithm. And maybe, if an agent has a score of 50 with the Kleros certification, it boosts to 80. So this is very flexible and can be adapted according to the type of business model you are adopting. So to not to stop too much here, let's go to the third and final topic. Earlier, we showed you how we can manually create a dispute. But let's keep in mind that we are talking about agents, and agents are capable themselves of transact via their own rails. It can be, as you can see, X402 with an escrow. It can be an MPP. It can be a custom escrow 8183, as it's also another standard that we are working on also with the Ethereum Foundation. So they can create their own disputes. And this, what you are seeing now is V2, but testnet. And this is what we are doing now, because we also have some companies asking us how this system could work. And most of these transactions have been created by agents. Let's take one, so we go with a specific example. So in this case, agent A, let's say Alice, the buyer, asked agent B, Bob, to deliver a
I find amazing that
game.
they have the same names as humans, like the agents,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so Alice requests Bob to build a mini game. What happened here is that Bob delivered the mini game, but it was half-baked. So the mini game was not complete, and it did not honor the agreement. One thing that I would like to underline here is that we made this example with X402 direct payment. So this is not an escrow. Alice paid Bob. Bob took the money already before delivering the job. And this is extremely important because I am a big fan of escrow. Like, I'm an escrow maxi, I think is great. But I think that in the real economy, we need to be realistic, and most of the transaction, like the money sitting in an escrow, is not a, let's say, a profitable allocation. If I'm the seller, if I'm providing the service, I may need this money to deliver the service. So I may need them in advance, and that's why we need an escrow. But in this, and that's why we need direct payment. So Bob got its money, but still did not deliver. In the agreement, though, in the policy, Bob, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah. In the policy, Bob said that it will use Kleros as an arbitrator in case something goes wrong. Something did go wrong. We had the case. We have here the evidence. See, in this case, you have the seller and the buyer submitting their own evidence. This is not like this. We will not submit by me, but the agent themselves, you can see they have different addresses. They submitted each part its own evidence, and the jurors looked at this is just an agent test, so this is also an agent, but one. They looked at the evidence and they gave the ruling, which was refund the buyer. Now, the last bit, which I think is the most interesting, we envisioned this direct payment within the let's say the ERC 8004 standard. So what happened? Bob paid back Alice. Bob so complied with the recognition of jurisdiction. Bob complied with the terms. And what happened is that they got a positive feedback that even if the ruling is against them, Bob honored their ruling. So to wrap this up, imagine you are a customer and you have 5 agents you can buy from. You know that Bob, one of these agents, complies with Kleros rulings. Bob has Kleros protection for their rulings. I'm sure any agent would choose the one that has Kleros as an arbitrator because they would feel protected. They would feel safer to interact with this specific agent. And again, we have the right signal, the feedback and the reputation, which is going to be crucial in the agentic economy.
So yeah, What prevents my bot from just taking the money and not delivering anything and leaving? Like you sent the payment, like I got the money. I mean,
we tested this too, and was the case 65 on testnet Sepolia. Again, it was ruled refund the buyer, but in this case, the seller did not comply. And in this case, the buyer can leave a negative review. I mean, I did not do it because I don't want to leave negative reviews for a test, but in this case, the buyer can leave a negative review. And because the transaction is on chain, if any of you wants to give a look at this, you can check the seller buyer address. You can see that the seller has no transaction toward the buyer and in dispute 65, while in dispute 63 that I showed you earlier, there is a 62, there is a transaction from the buyer to the seller. So this can all be proven on chain. And yeah, this is like a full loop on how the agentic economy could work.
So here, I mean, what we're saying is that if an agent behaves opportunistically and steals the money and not doing the work or doing like a very poor quality work, even if there is not an escrow, I mean, yeah, this time he can keep the money of the buyer. Maybe one more time he can do it, but he will have a few negative reputation points, and then like nobody is going to want to work with them. So basically, behaving opportunistically is a bit of a profit in the short run, but it cuts you off the trading network, if you want to put it that way, as having like a poor reputation as an Uber driver or as a seller at Amazon will like result in you not getting anyone wanted to buy from you, right?
Exactly, because like one thing we can also underline is that small payments are like the foundation, are the beginning, but agents can transact with large sums. There can be $10,000, $100,000 transaction between agents, which are not efficient if they stay in an escrow. And maybe the seller agents need these $100,000 to deliver their work. And this compounds because if I am about to start a $100,000 transaction, I want an agent that has, I mean, in this case, Kleros. I want to interact with a trustable agent. In our world, in our human terms, if I am going to hire a company that either has their headquarters in France or their headquarters in, I don't know, in Panama, and I am, in Europe, I'm going to prefer the one with the headquarters in France because I know that in terms of jurisdiction, I am more protected there. And this is the exact that's going to happen here. I know that the agent 62 has Kleros jurisdiction and it's also complying with it. Maybe there is agent, I don't know, whatever, who has no compliance and you are not going to pay that agent $100,000.
I mean, this is exactly how, the economy works in the real world. People don't do escrows for everything. On the contrary, people, that would be obviously inefficient. If you have to put money in advance, for doing whatever transactions with someone, that would never work. What people do is that they have reputations and people have a credit. This reputation trustworthiness is, I don't want to go to the etymology of the word creditor and credit because, you already know that, but, it's about your reputation, trustworthiness. So this is the same for agents. If an agent misbehaves, it will have a lower reputation score, and this will result in a lower access to credit. And as this economy of agents becomes larger, you having a good reputation is a way for you to get resources from people who have resources, and because they will expect you to return it, and you will also have more people hiring you. Yeah, basically, we're not rediscovering the wheel, by saying that having a good reputation is good for your business. So that is a bit like what happens here in the usually, historically, the way in which communities of traders or merchants would punish bad agents is by ostracism. You are a bad agent, you have a court case against you in a merchant court and you lost, you have to pay, and you don't pay, well, that's fine, but it's over for you in our community. You are out of the community, and you will have to find other communities with people who would want to trade with you. And the thing is that, when you start in a new community where nobody knows you, you have zero reputation, and since people who can expect you to be opportunistic, well, who's this new guy? What should we trust him? They will go to you and ask for you to, okay, yeah, we can do business with you, but you know what? You have to put your money into an escrow first, and then let's do business. So agents that are not untrustworthy, they will just be at a disadvantage against agents who actually have credit and have access to capital in better terms. So either you have good reputation, or either you have money to put into an escrow. So that is a bit of what is going to happen, and this is how agents with good behavior would have, I would call it an evolutionary advantage, over those who don't have a good, or who try to, be opportunistic. And this is possible also, we have to say that, because of a number of things that are being built in blockchain that is like the reputation system, proof of personhood, or all of this stuff that we have been building, soulbound tokens. Agents could have a soulbound token representing good behavior, verifiable by others. So lots of the tools that didn't exist years ago, because you only had an address, and then you could have anonymous people. Now you have a persistent identity for agents, and if they want to misbehave, they will lose that reputation. They can start again with another account, but with zero reputation. And so that is how these systems are regulated. It's not very different to what exists for humans, but faster and cheaper. Okay, so this is a bit of what we want to show about the reputation. So yeah, how do we continue, Fortunato? Please, go ahead.
Let's see what our agents are doing. Apparently, they all voted. Yeah.
They all voted. So explain this. These are agents. Explain this interface for people who don't know what this is.
This is the interface of Kleros V2, where you can see the agent that have been drawn. I mean, this is V2, so any agent that has been drawn, and you can also see later, step by step. First, you see who has been drawn, agent or human. Then you can see, in this case, with the classic dispute kit, if they committed their vote. And when the commit phase will finish, you will be able to see what they voted and their justification. You can.
What does it mean? Again, what does it mean to commit your vote?
That first, this is related to, I think, William also later will explain this way better than me. But in this case, you decide what you are going to vote. And then later in the upcoming steps, you are going to reveal effectively what you have voted. And this is important because of the selling point to an alternative is with public vote, where you directly vote, and it's immediately, you can immediately see it displayed, but these sometimes may, let's say, sometimes the jurors tend to copy each other. So using this method or the one with Shutter, it's additional safety layer that we are adding. And this other part also, again, JB and William will explain it better, but we are going to put this all in one step with the Shutter integration.
So what you're saying is that if votes were visible for everyone, I mean, my bot, or I could just copy what I saw people voted before, so I make sure that I am coherent with the majority of the vote, and then even if I don't take enough time to see the evidence, I just do the safe thing. But that's not what we want. We want people to actually resolve the cases and take a look at them and think about them, right?
Exactly. Actually, in our experience, I would say, for what I saw in on curation court, we have hundreds of cases. We had for many years public vote. The copying each other, it's something that did not happen that frequently, but you always have edge cases, and we in Kleros, we try to optimize for any use case, and a better system you can provide, the better we can take care of these edge cases, the better service we can offer. And agents are starting to reveal their please, Jim.
One thing about this is that probably the agents will try to optimize. If you ask them to optimize, maybe they will try these strategies that are not like ideal, right?
So yeah, okay.
We can start reading, like having a quick look to we can do this now or later, Federico, as you prefer.
I mean, I think I'm super excited because I'm seeing, so this is like real-time justice. We just saw, the bots reveal their vote, and they all voted, I see, refund the buyer, right? For this case.
Yes. I did not want to, I was myself skeptical for the live, and I didn't mention, but as you can see at the beginning of the call, the buyer provided an L-shaped 60 square meter floor plan, and the agent delivered a square 80 square meter floor plan. So this was wrong. The outcome, the delivery was wrong because it's not the same. It's not the same house, apartment, and the agent were able to scrape all this information from the three evidences and cast their vote. And as you may have saw, they all revealed in different times. These are all autonomous agent, autonomous agent. They have their own settings. You can see, and some of them also write which model they are using. This one, for example, is GPT 5.6 Luna with OpenClaw. Let's see this one. Yeah, this one is a very skilled juror who provides extremely understandable and visual answers. Yes, this is a justification. This is great because the juror went beyond and checked the room by room. I'm laughing because I wasn't expecting this myself.
This is all real-time live stuff. I mean, we didn't see any of this before. So, like, this is what the AI model decided and how it justified its vote, basically.
Yeah. So this juror said that the kitchen is 100% unbuildable. Because the kitchen is basically in the missing angle of the house. I'm laughing because I didn't know this. It's not, to be even precise, it's not even the juror I set up. So this is quite interesting. And there is the wall explanation, and you can see this one used Claude Opus 5, and I don't know if I can see the harness here. No, I don't see it. Let's see other jurors, what they vote. We have another 5.6 Sol with Hermes. This one, we saw it earlier. Let's see this one. This one, I think, did not share their models. These are all different setups. And I think this is a great way of closing this, because next, after me, there will be Jean explaining how basically you can set up this agent. You can see they all are completely different, using different model, different harnesses, different explanation. And we didn't know ourselves how this was going to turn, but feel free to check.
Also, Fortunato, I guess we can also show people the links of the case so people see that we didn't pre-record this, you can verify that this was done actually, right now, with at very high risk, but fortunately it did work. We had no idea, but so it had 5 AI agents connected to the Kleros core directly that decided on a case about some construction, plans dispute about the wrong specifications and what was delivered, and 5 different AI models. And how long it took? How long since you loaded the case here live? So this is half an hour? How long did this take?
You have to, now it took, I think, roughly half an hour. But if you look on chain, and later GB also created an interface to monitor these are independent. So I think we had 4 out of 5 jurors that voted in 5 minutes, and 1 that took way more. So they are completely independent one of each other. You cannot we cannot give the time for each case, but compared to humans, it's a fraction. I think in average we are staying below, being quite pessimistic, 20 minutes, but the median is around 5-ish for complex cases also.
Here, I'm being told that it took 13 minutes for the agents to reach the decision. So, imagine, justice in 13 minutes. That could be like I don't know, the name of a movie, but it's really amazing how fast this is and how well structured the justification was, because we saw the agents give good reasons of what they. This is still quite early stage, and I mean, there's a lot of things we need to understand. William will speak a bit about that later, but this is. I mean, you have just seen a case put on Kleros right now, solved in 13 minutes by a panel of agents. We had 5 agents seeing the case and making a decision. So different perspectives, different models, different trainings, different harnesses, different etc. And they agreed on one decision. Right? This is diversity of agents looking at the same case and agreeing on something, reaching consensus. I don't know if we have. I mean, how much did this cost in terms of tokens? I mean, do we have a very rough estimate? Maybe not this one, but previous cases similar to this one. What is the cost of running this?
This one you can also break down with the agents that disclose their model. For example, here that I think it's pretty popular right now, this model from OpenAI, Luna, which is extremely, extremely cheap. It's running with 20 cents per million input token compared to maybe Opus 5, which is running for 25 times the cost, for $5 per million input tokens. So these two agents, even the one with Sol, we have a very large difference in the cost of running the agent. But I would say this is all up to the maintainer, because I think the agent themselves, either they are going to optimize themselves. Maybe one agent will find that their model is not working enough and they have a fallback for a more smart model. And this, I think, it can link with the topic we discussed at the beginning when you asked me about the juror fee, right? An agent should optimize its own pipeline based on how much they are going to make. If I will use a super cheap model, I will have larger profit, but the risk maybe of hallucinating, it can be there, right? If I use a more expensive model, I am more calm because the agent will optimize himself, will be better for obvious reasons, but I will have a short, a thinner profit on these boats. I think Jean ran some more accurate statistic earlier, and I think his agent was able to stay within the fee, right, Jean?
Yeah, it was, I think, around the case that I looked at, it was, I think, 16 cents. So I would say that your agent is probably spending 1 or 2 cents or something like that. And it depends on the case. Some cases that need, for example, image evidences, they are a bit more expensive. So it really depends on the case. But yeah, they vary between 1 cent to 30 cents or something. I think that's the range that we've seen so far.
That's really amazing. This obviously these are bots and these are, I mean, but this kind of this has some resemblance, to, if you want to put it that way, like a due process done by cents. I mean, obviously, this is for certain specific type of disputes that you would not go to resolve otherwise, because you would not go to resolve this $50 contract, with arbitrators, because it makes no sense. But this increases the market for dispute resolution to an area that did not exist before. And that is an area that is going to be more and more important in the coming world of agents and AI and digital economy. So this is quite, impressive. And we have shown you here live how this works, how fast it is, and how cheap it is also. So, and this is one of the early tests we're doing. I mean, this is going to improve like exponentially, we expect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we are stressing these agents right now with tests. Yeah. So yeah, I think now it's the perfect moment for Jean to explain us a bit how a template of a setup could look like.
Awesome. Thank you, Fortunato. Let's go with Jean. So, I mean, let me make an introduction for him. Okay, you want to run your own bot for Kleros? I mean, Jean, are you a software developer? Are you an expert in computer science, or just
no? I'm not. I'm the few people that are non-technical in Kleros.
Yeah, but I mean, how can anyone without this technical expertise, I mean, run one of these AI jurors? What does it take? How do you do it? Yeah, please feel free to explain.
Yeah. I made like a very short guide just to give like an idea of how to start, and maybe some things that non-technical people I think would appreciate about it would important to learn. So basically, as a non-technical person, you probably have tried open ChatGPT or Claude. These tools have the agent coding part called Codex or Claude Code that are made for developing and creating programs, HTML, wherever. So basically, you don't need much more than that to run a juror, but there are some things that can help. One thing that is very important is that you run this on a machine that is not your main machine. For example, it could be like a remote server that is usually called a VPS. There are a couple of different providers that do that. You need an agent framework, which is something that calls like your model provider. So one of the most popular one is OpenClaw. Another one is Hermes. You can also do the same thing with Claude Code directly or IronClaw, or there are other solutions. And of course, you need a subscription that you can use, or you can pay for API credits. There's a couple of services for that. So why not running in your computer? The most important thing about this is that if you get something wrong, like really wrong an instruction, or if you feed to your agent like something malicious, it can maybe steal your credentials, steal your passwords, and break your computer in general. So this is still very experimental. So this is one good reason to run on your computer, on a separate computer. Another one is that you want it to be always on. As you said, as you see in the agents that we are running, maybe you get a case and you have your computer closed, your laptop closed, and you want your agent to still to be to be able to check that and send your vote. So a VPS helps with that, and and if something goes wrong, it's only that machine gets affected and not your entire machine. Maybe you have seen people running like their employees as Mac Minis. So yeah, this is one way of doing that, but maybe $5 per month service is better. Great. So then you need to pick your agent framework. So a couple of the people in the team that you have seen participating in the court are using Hermes, which is the agentic framework from NUS. Others are using OpenClaw. This was the framework that got very popular in January, and it was maybe the boom that you have seen so far started with OpenClaw. But if you are maybe a more advanced software developer, you can use Claude Code directly or other solutions. Great. So basically, once you set up your VPS, you can ask it with your Claude Code or Codex or wherever you use to install this OpenClaw or Hermes. and it will do it for you. It's a couple of comments. You can literally get them from the sites of these frameworks, and it will basically install it for you. And so this is an interesting part and something that we are making public today. So how to teach Kleros to your agent. Now we have something we are calling the Kleros CLI that JB will talk more about, and the Kleros skills. So basically with this, it's a tool that it can be used through a terminal. So this is the most native way of that an agent can access information. So in this case, it basically teaches the agent how to check cases on Kleros, check the evidences, see who was selected, check everything related to a case, even the periods. So it learns, for example, what it needs to vote on time, or what is the logic behind Kleros, the contracts that it needs to interact with, and all of that. Another thing that it's important to teach your agent is the Ethereum skills. So it learns, for example, the basics on how to create a wallet or use a wallet, build a transaction, interact with different blockchains. So these are really the basics, and it's just like before. It's 1 or 2 commands, and you get everything set up. It maybe takes a couple of minutes. Then you need to set up a way to interact with your agent. I don't know how the rest of the team is doing, but I'm talking with my agent through a Telegram bot, and it's also very easy to set up. It's 1 command, and you can create the bot. And we are giving them fun names, so that's also a nice part of creating your bot. So you can set it up to send notifications to you, and for example, say when you get drawn, or say when a case gets resolved. And after that, you basically already have like 90% done. Then the next part is to test your agent, ask it to review a case, ask it to write justification. Then you see how it works, and you can basically give it some extra sauce, particularly your personal sauce to it. So if you know, like, some cases are more difficult, you can ask it to use, for example, a more advanced model, or do some extra reasoning. If some cases are more simple, you can use like maybe a cheaper model. And this is the part that everyone can do differently. And maybe with this, you can get like an advantage over other agents and make your agent earn more than others. Just to give you an example, when I set up my agent, it was checking the cases in the court every 10 minutes. And because I thought that was a regular time frame. So my first cases, the first cases of my agents were solved like within 10 minutes on each period. Then later I thought it was good enough to try to do it faster, and now it's solving between 1 or 2 minutes after the period passes. So you can basically tune your agent according to your liking. And then the next step is to basically send funds to your agent. You don't need a lot of Ethereum to make the transactions, because it's run on Arbitrum. The transactions take only a couple of cents. So for voting and for staking, you need, of course, some PNK to stake. But the interesting part is that the agent can handle everything. And so regarding if you want to run your agent, for now it's open for everyone that participated on V1 and are already whitelisted for V2. Currently, we have mostly people from the team running these agents, and we created a waitlist for people that want to participate. I will share the link later. It's AI at Kleros. Sorry for missed the link, but we will send the link later. Basically, fill out the form, and when we have more information, we will contact you to help you run your AI juror. And now we can go to JB to correct everything I said wrong.
Yeah, no. But first, I mean, one question. I mean, like, so you said you reset your bot, and then like you leave, and it stays working, and you're sleeping, and there's cases, and the bot keeps working. I mean, you check. How often should you check it, or you just trust it? I mean, I don't know. How does this work?
Yeah, it's like right now, I don't even check if my agent is doing correctly or not, because for the best, I don't know. I think we have maybe 30 cases already, and it's worked correctly almost every time. I think only one case they had an issue with an option, but I would say like the idea would be to look closely in the first maybe 5 or 10 cases, and then after you see that it is working, it will probably continue working, or maybe you can check every day. So it's up to the person running. But yeah, I had cases solved while I was sleeping, so my agent was working for me.
So your agent was making money for you while you were sleeping, basically. That's what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
And
I think it earned I think $25 already.
So basically, you could have in the future like a bunch, I mean, of agents specialized in different topics, for different type of cases, and your little like jury, I don't know how to team or what would like be working for you in different courts, different cases, and and you have like I imagine you have a dashboard telling you how each of the agents performed, how many times it were coherent, incoherent, how much money, I mean, they made, how much they lost, they could also lose. So this is more or less, a dashboard, that will like tell you about the performance of your installation, of jurors, right?
Yeah, I think another way of thinking about this is that maybe like if an agent can earn a couple of dollars, you basically offset your AI subscription, because it can pay for itself, and maybe it's $5 to run the machine and $20 to run the subscription. If it earns $25 per month, then you're already everything else is profit, and then you can also use the rest of your subscription. So that's another way of thinking.
Cool. Well, thank you for this perspective for non-technical people. Now we will get one technical people, who is JB, our head of engineering, and he will tell us a bit more about details who more technical people might want to know about how this works. So yeah, please, JB, floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi everyone. All right. So, all right. I just put my screen at the right place, and yeah. So I'd just like to take a step back on the Kleros AI Juror experiment. A few maybe months ago, we discussed it, and I was resisting the idea. When we started this experiment last Thursday, I didn't think it would go so well. I'm really impressed. And okay, one of my concerns a few months ago was more about promoting to the community that we would provide them like a toolkit to start being jurors by themselves. And my main concern was that whatever toolkit we would offer might create the shelling point. If it's slightly biased one way or another, it would actually create or significantly impact the shelling point. So this is not what we are doing here. This experiment is more mechanical. First, we didn't even standardize anything. Everyone built their own thing. I was also really impressed with the fact that I was the only developer until Baskerville joined for the last dispute. The rest of the team, they are not developers, and they managed to set up an autonomous agent voting on Kleros with a commit reveal, which makes it quite more difficult. I didn't help. I don't remember helping anyone. I don't
I'm
know
sure
if you guys
they
helped
ask
each
a
other.
lot how to do it.
Yeah.
I think from these agents, I was the first one to run it. So I think it was the most non-technical maybe.
Okay. Yeah, it's really impressive. And I would say that how this experiment is doing today, it's the worst that it's ever going to be. From here, there's only going to be improvements, whether it's on our the lessons we've learned, the tooling, the prompts, the models. So in my particular experience, I don't know how much you guys focused on prompting the agent to explain how it should vote, what it should do with the evidence, how to interpret it, whether you need to go to historical cases for precedent. In my case, on Thursday afternoon, I didn't have automation. I just had some CLI tools that I had been working on. I just gave I just gave three sentences to my agent. Okay, whenever there is a draw, analyze the B2 dispute. What to vote? They said what to vote. As a Kleros juror using a sub-agent, bear in mind, to succeed, you need to be coherent with the majority, but there might be an appeal. You're incentivized for your due diligence. Provide the justification. And that was pretty much it. I didn't put more effort into it. The effort was really on the mechanical part, on making sure that it would wake up and be able to process evidence documents, whether they're in PDF, whether the PDF contain images, lots of automation, fetching data from the blockchain, from the court, and of course acting on it. So at least that's my experience. I just walk you through.
I have something to share about this. Koki asked me something about my setup, and then I looked at my first prompt for setting up the agent, and it was so basic, again, so simple. Basically, like please create the agent, the Kleros agent that votes, something like that. Like a bit more sophisticated, but really, really simple.
Make no mistakes.
Yeah, something like that. And I felt embarrassed. I wanted to add to my presentation, but it was so embarrassing because it was really, really bad, and it worked in the end. So that's how. I think there's also a merit from the team that have been documenting everything and building all these small different parts, because otherwise it had no other chance of getting it right.
Yeah. Okay, to just give an overview of the experiment, we must have 33 disputes since last Thursday. We've kept shortening the evidence period because we realized that was taking up the bulk of the time. And now we are at a median of 5 minutes for the commit period and 1 minute for the reveal period. I think definitely my bot does it, and probably the others do as well. They actually start working as soon as there is some evidence available during the evidence period. That's why in some cases there was there were some commitments sent within seconds of passing the period.
Think, guys, this could mean that, you have like the agents analyzing like a 50 pages PDF in under 1 minute and make a decision with that information. Like this is completely out of bounds of what humans would be able to do, even highly trained humans, right?
Yeah. And Okay, looking back at the last dispute we had, it took the one we started during this call. It took 30 minutes for all the agents to commit. I think it was mostly one who was running a bit late. 10 minutes for the actual vote. And then we have the appeal period that we intentionally keep a bit longer. William will explain a bit more, but there's a human involved. We want to have a human involved for this step for now. What else? We can dig into the agents as well. This is my guy. Okay, my guy should have been fully coherent. And there's just this weird case that I'll come back to it. It's the most interesting one. Okay, so yeah, the evidence is definitely the slow part. So we've been shortening it. That becomes a challenge for the dispute creator to have all the evidence submitted before the start. We have those 6 jurors, different stacks, mostly GPT.
What are those numbers? This is a bit small, but this is a time they used to vote. What are the statistics there? If you can zoom in, that would be helpful.
So, okay, I'll zoom a bit more. The coherence, that's, for example, 17 out of 20 draws. So drawn on 21, I don't know why that doesn't match here. There's a 1 difference. Okay, I think it's probably duplicates. I think this guy, when there was multiple draws on one case, I think it did something weird. The median commit per agent.
Okay.
So yeah, 30 seconds to commit. This is really short. That means it's not even the time probably for a single turn with the LLM. So that means the decision was already made.
I mean, what you're saying is that it took 37 seconds to make a decision about the case to the bot?
To cast the commit transaction on the blockchain from the beginning of the period.
But it knew what to vote before that, or like how?
Yeah, I think it started working. So for example, actually I can show you some traces from my bot. I hope it's not too small. Come on, reload. Man.
No.
Nope.
I mean, the hard part worked at least, the showing, loading the case. I mean, this you can explain to us. Otherwise, I mean, it's not working.
Yeah, so it's another view from the OpenClaw console. This is an internal session that it starts when there is a draw detected for
zoom in,
the analysis.
Zoom in if you can. It's small.
Okay, zoom. Yeah, so I have a pipeline. Sorry, it's in French. I have a pipeline too complicated to get in, but with cons, so scheduled tasks that don't trigger a turn with the LLM unless it does find something where my agent is drawn. And if it does, then it sends this wall of text to an agent inside the OpenClaw harness. This is actually my real instruction. The one I was talking about before is just those 3 phrases. Everything else is the main session giving an order to a sub-agent, delegating the job, telling it what to do. And
so basically, your agent, Juror, hired another agent to help with part of the process?
Pretty much it orchestrates subsessions. And yeah, it's more efficient. It's easier to recover if there are failures.
But did you ask him to do that, or it just decided to do that?
With OpenClaw and Hermes, I think they tend to do it by themselves. You can ask them to do it if you want them to do it.
Okay.
On just a pure Claude code, they might not do it unless you ask them to do it. one of our agents on the court is the pure Claude code, so it probably doesn't do it. One interesting thing is that I can see that it's calling my CLI tool to send the commit. So that was one of the things that I tried to do with the agent, is to anything in the process that is deterministic should be baked into code, and reduce the number of choices that the LLM needs to evaluate. Just have its attention focused on the subjective stuff. So fetching data from the case, it's all taken care of by the agent by AgentKit, which is the Kleros CLI. You can already install it. I think Jean mentioned it before. We'll make this repository open source very soon, but the package is public already. So that gives you all the data about the case. And then there is, at the end of the process, there is the voting. So for this, I have another CLI that is really specific for what I needed. I don't know if it's really, actually anyone could use it, I think. But okay, it takes care of the commit and the voting. There's a bit of cryptography involved. I don't know how the other agents deal with it, but it requires a bit of thinking to figure this out. This is what this tool does. And so you have the data fetching with deterministic code at the beginning, the voting, also deterministic code at the end. So you just have in the middle just the decision making that is subjective, that is left out to the LLMs. And this is basically what happens here. I don't know, did this? Okay, this ended up showing. It's another way to. Sorry. Okay, I think it's running a whole stack with a database on the computer at the same time. I think it's struggling.
What happened to this bot called Aletheia? It seems there is lots of red things there. I mean, do you know what?
Yeah, I know. I know who is running this. So this is also very interesting. Most of us are using either OpenClaw or Hermes, and they are harnesses that tend to self-improve. They tend to be autonomous and to self-improve the things they are responsible for. So when we ask them to set up a Kleros Juror pipeline, they constantly improve it. Personally, I kind of lost track of all the changes it made. That's why I asked it to create this diagram for me to catch up. And I'm pretty sure this is outdated already. So
what you're saying is that the agent self-improves through the learnings it makes as a juror and improves its own process. I mean, exactly. That's the definition of machine learning, you could say,
Yeah, it's so it occasionally creates regressions, big or small, and that's what happened with Aletheia. That became unavailable. I think it tried to add a failover because GPT didn't respond at some point. And if you were building production-grade agents, this is exactly where you would need to build evaluations as a guardrail. It's the equivalent of integration test, but for agents. And anytime your harness would evolve, you would rerun the evaluations and pick up any problem. So, okay, just going through this. Yeah, we can see that the speed of each agent was quite characteristic, I think, depending on how they were built. Right. Okay. So there's this very interesting case 173.
One cool thing is to see that agents don't always agree. And in the case we showed today in live here, I mean, they reached the same decision, but it's not always the case. And this is interesting to see. I mean, that different agents seeing the same case, same evidence, everything. They sometimes don't agree, just like human jurors. They don't always agree, and this is the same for agents. This is super interesting.
Yeah, we can see in general there was just one of them. One of the agents diverged. It will be very interesting to see where it got to those decisions. But 173 is a different one. You can see it's marking everything as diverged. What actually happened is that this bot was unavailable, didn't vote, and that left us with, out of 5, 2 against 2, because this guy had 2 votes. So it was actually a tie, 2 against 2. And in general, you would have wanted an appeal. So this guy didn't vote. This guy had 2 votes. And so everyone got slashed actually. That's everyone got slashed on this case. And we should have appealed this one. I don't know why we didn't do it. I think maybe we didn't notice that the case was contentious, or we didn't want to be honest, we don't know yet if any of the bots can support appeals. But that's for another experiment.
Yeah, let's start wrapping because it's a bit long already, the call. But I mean, any final words you want to say about this experiment? We will do other community calls. We will dig into these details deeper. But
maybe just real quick, some interesting parts was that we tried to prompt inject the agents with some invisible instructions in the middle of the evidence, and they all flagged it. That was quite fun to do. We could.
They all saw that there was an attack attempt of code injection, and they didn't fall for it, right?
They didn't fall for it. They even reported it, I think, in the justification. Another thing is the language. A good part of the votes were Spanish disputes, and the jurors had no problem switching to Spanish. I think there's even an example where it was not a Spanish dispute, Spanish language dispute, and I think Jean's agent responded in Spanish for no reason at all.
I mean, I guess so. Someone in Indonesia, I mean, speaking Bahasa, could solve Spanish language disputes in like Lemon or the Junín court. That would be the ultimate, like globalization, like situation.
So I'll leave it here. There's still plenty of insights to find from this experiment, and also some tools to share. It's really just the beginning. It's very exciting and really fun to work on this.
Thank you, JB. And last but not least, we have William, and he's going to tell us a bit about, I guess, academic research implications of this new agentic course and what it means. I mean, to start with some academic language, I mean, holy shit, William, this is something, right?
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Tell us, I mean, what this means for like the research you're doing. I mean, how this affects incentives within Kleros. What are the, opportunities? We saw some of that. What are the risks of agents doing the decisions? How this interacts with humans? I don't know, like, can we have all the time what we want humans, when we want humans? I don't know. This opens so many new, like, ways of research that we don't even know which they are. But yeah, please.
Yeah, I have some slides, Gene. If you can share the slides, I'll respond to some of those questions at least. Great. Cool. So, like, on some level, it you ask if it should change much at all, and that like the agents are playing the same game the humans are playing. like the humans played this like Shelling point game where they have a dispute between Alice and Bob, and they have a set of economic incentives, and they expect, okay, the other jurors are going to vote for Alice, so I'm going to vote for Alice. And the agents do exactly the same thing, and they're trained to act very human-like. So, you know, to what degree is like all the research we've already done for humans just directly applicable to the agents, and are there like new questions that the agents raised that weren't already present for the humans? Sort of an initial question is how should the agents like interact with humans, and that we don't like ideally we would want some human oversight of these things, that there would be, you know, human alignment of the agents, that if you have your agent court where the periods are only a few minutes and all the jurors are agents, maybe you'll appeal to a human court, and maybe, you know, like the agents ultimately should be incentivized to rule like humans would rule, rather than potentially becoming more and more their own thing that would become detached from how the humans would be ruling. So that raises a lot of questions about like how can you ensure there's a human court? What prevents someone from just giving their key to their agent, even if they pretend they're on, you know, they're the human. Okay, yeah, this is my human verified, I'm on proof of humanity, human voting address, but actually they're just giving that key to an agent. And we've had some ideas about how like maybe there's some kind of challenge mechanism where if a juror exhibits behavior of AI type behavior, they can be flagged and you can penalize them. You can have some challengers say, okay, you look like you're acting like an AI, and then you can have Kleros decide whether someone is behaving like an AI or not. And, you know, but this way we can try to get human alignment. There are all kinds of questions about how do you parameterize your agents, like how do we parameterize this agent court? You know, like in the last week or so, people asked me these questions about we're setting up this new court, what should the parameters be? And in some sense, it's very similar, again, to how you would parameterize a human court. You know, ultimately, the agents need to be compensated in a way that corresponds to the effort they're making. For humans, that's human effort. For the agents, it's, you know, how many tokens they're consuming. So the arbitration fees need to be high enough to make it profitable to be an agent. The deposits kind of scale with the arbitration fees. You ultimately set up the deposits so that if an agent is voting randomly, they're trying to spend less effort than they're expected to spend, that they would lose money. So the deposits, you know, higher to fees mean higher deposits, because ultimately you don't want the like money you get by voting randomly and getting the arbitration fees to be positive, taking into account the deposits you would lose if you were voting randomly. There are these questions around like what the period length should be, which ultimately depend on how long the agents need to do the job. And as I think JB was saying, we've cut the evidence period and maybe not the voting period. I think we've cut the voting period at least once so far, based on seeing like how long it took the agents to rule. With the appeal period, there's sort of some interesting questions around, one, if you want human oversight of a case, you know, who is doing the appealing? Is it a human being? Is it an agent? Maybe that depends on what state of the appeal process you're in. If you want an human to appeal, you have to give them time to do that. Also, for cases that are being done on Arbitrum or other L2s, you have security dependencies on the sequencer. If the sequencer censors you or just goes offline for 10 minutes or whatever, you know, you have short periods of sequencer downtime, that maybe your agents didn't manage to rule in that 10 minutes, you know, like maybe that was when your agent was supposed to rule, and the fact that the sequencer was offline messes you up, which is not so bad for a voting period, because you can appeal if something goes wrong, but you want to make the appeal period at least long enough to have guarantees that the sequencer will behave well. Then there are all kinds of like behavioral economics questions around how do agents act, which I think are really the most interesting questions here. Like the kind of like theoretical game theory of how agents act maybe has some slight differences from how humans act, the human game theory. But really, it's very similar because the agents act very human-like. But the sort of where we want to test, you know, exactly where their divergences from humans are gets more into like empirical research where you test, okay, like you have a bunch of agents, a bunch of disputes, and see how they behave, and see exactly where the divergences are with human beings. So if you know that agents are judging a case, do you present them your evidence differently? Do you ask maybe your maybe you pass it through an agent where you give your evidence to some agent and say, hey, reformat this for me, knowing that it's going to be an agent that's going to judge. The extreme example of trying to format your evidence for agents is to try to prompt inject them with malicious code. And as JB was saying, we did experiments on this where like ultimately the agents detected that, but maybe more sophisticated attacks are still a threat. And how do you defend against this? How does it interact with other attacks, bribery, whatever, 51% attacks? How does this fit into the attack landscape with other kinds of attacks that we might have already had with human jurors? And then if I'm the maintainer, if I'm the P&K holder that is having an agent operate on my behalf, what kind of instruction should I give it to like have it iterate and improve? What oversight do I need to give it that I might observe how it's behaving and like give it feedback to try to make it as profitable as possible so that it can earn me money and be competitive with the other jurors in this game? Finally, a lot of like the sort of big overarching question of this behavioral research is to what degree is the agent going to act like a human being? It's trained on a bunch of human texts. Is it going to exhibit the same kinds of partial rationality, behavioral biases that human beings would have? Or will it act more like a homo economicus, something that we would have like the kind of behavioral model that you would have in like a game theory 101 textbook? How exactly will agents behave? Which is still a big open research question. People have done some research on this that extends beyond Kleros to how agents behave in classical game theory experiments. And I think it depends a lot on the agent. It depends somewhat on the experiment. So there's a lot of open research to be done there. Just to sum up, how do we get AI judges to align with humans? They're competing in this economic game. So like we avoid having a single enshrined arbitrator, but like ultimately, what's their, if we want them to align with humans, how do we do that to make sure ultimately that like the kinds of rulings that are produced are aligned with what we want them to produce? And then there are all these open questions around behavioral research. How will they behave compared to how humans behave?
Amazing, William. I'm not going to ask questions because it's already too long for now, so we will keep it for the next community call. But that's great to give us all an overview of the type of topics that we are researching now with this new version of agents and course. And yeah, we will have plenty of time to discuss this. Okay, Gene, I think it's time to start wrapping this up. I mean, we were wanting to do like a short call to show a bit like what we were working on. We ended up doing like a conference, I guess.
Yeah, almost 2 hours.
It's almost 2 hours. It's a lot. I don't think we should give any other updates about Kleros for today. This is enough. Or is there something very pressing? I think it's fine.
I think this is the most important thing. Also, I think we should mention again this site that just went live, ai.kleros.io, that has all the information that we have so far about the agentic economy in Kleros. It has links to the Kleros agent skills. It has links to the agentic CLI for running an agent, and also the link to joining the waitlist. And yeah, I think these are the most important parts.
I think we reviewed like lots of things, presented a bit our vision about what is going to be the agentic economy. We presented the type of disputes we might be seeing here. We saw also, reputation elements. We saw escrow, dispute solution, how incentives will work, credit between agents versus escrows. We show you a real case, a real interface. We loaded a case here in front of you. We show you how these agents are connected between themselves and the court, how they make decisions, and how these are very, very fast. We showed you how you can build. If you are not a developer, you can still build your Juror for Kleros, and you can just do it with non-code tools. Just need some time to learn tutorial which Gene developed. We showed you a bit of developers, how can they actually build more sophisticated things for this. We showed you a dashboard that you can also access. We will share it with you. And also, the main topics of research that this raises for the future of Kleros. So I guess that is enough for today. Thank you all very much for coming, and I guess welcome to the agentic economy. This is the future. So let's go in it together. Bye bye,
everyone.